Alright, so Stella's taking a little snooze in the microvan. We just made a Home Depot run and stopped at the park and she chased up a rabbit. She's pretty darn happy about that. And I'm back to the shop and I'm working. And what would I be working on but projects? As if I don't have enough projects in there or in there. I got projects lying around out here. And this little red, white, and blue 1971 Honda Z600. I started a couple weeks ago and thought I'd start it up again, let it run. It's out here purring. A little smoke coming off the engine just from sitting for a while. I needed to move this car and let it run so I can get to the green car. That's a green Le car that everyone's been asking me about. I had a little time a few weeks ago to get the tires pumped up. The beads were all leaking, so they're holding the air good. I got to roll it out and see if I can get it started. Wow, there's a loud frog over there. But we've got our Honda Z600 here warming up. It has bad gas, so it is not liking to run. Push in the choke. It has a mechanical tach. In other words, there's actually a cable that runs from the tachometer to the engine. Like a motorcycle. It's running better now. I couldn't get it to idle before, but it seems like it's doing pretty good now. There we go. See if I can get it to idle without the choke. It's got bad gas, I can tell. Come on, baby, idle down. There we go. Yeah. Idling at 1700 without no choke. That's the best it's done in at least the last half hour. So we'll let this run and we'll start working on this thing. I got my battery boost charger here. Let's see if we can get this thing started. I haven't started this car in a long time, which brings me to my next point. I hope the engine's not seized. Oh boy. The alternator's turning, but the, how do I say this? The transmission is in front of the engine, but I think I can turn the camshaft bolt. I think that's the camshaft pulley right there. The harmonic balancer is on this side, which you can't get to. But I think this is the end of the cam on the back side of the engine, and I might be able to get a wrench on there if I can get it to turn. It is not turning. So let me get a wrench and see if I can turn it over. If it's seized up, I will be very unhappy. All right, so we're working on our Le car. This is our 1977 Renault Le car. It has either a 1.3 or a 1.4 liter engine in reverse. In other words, the engine's back here and the transmission's up here. And I wanted to see if I could just push it into the shop because it's starting to rain and I'd like to be dry when I work on this thing. Look at the moss that's built up on that. It's kind of fuzzy. Feels like shag carpet. Let's see if I can open the door. And I don't know that I have a key for this. I think I have to hotwire it. It's not going to start, but I just want to make sure it'll roll so it's breaking off. It's a braking. It feels like it works. There we go. Let's see if I can give it a push. Oh, it's really stuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to hook something up to it and tow it a little bit. The wheels are stuck. Poor thing. I need to give this some love. Adjust this here, this. What you doing, Stell? Ready to go for a ride? pretty stuck. Pulled half the bushes with it. Growing up through the car. Look at that. It's been there a while. Okay, I think I can pull this a little more. Let's see if I can really stuck. Here she's coming. That's probably good. All right, so we got it part way out. Let's see if we can get it the rest of the way. Ooh, Stella, what do you think? You want to go roll over there in that pile of leaves? There's probably a dead rat there. You want to go roll in it? Oh, I'm sure you would. Stinky dog. You stinky, stinky, stinky. Okay. I gotta take a break. Stella, you gotta help me. Let's see if I can air up the tires. That might help. Oh, you gotta turn the compressor on. The car is in the shop. Let's get some work done. Okay, I think I can get this out of here. Let's take a look at the points. Well, that actually looks pretty good. Let's check the oil. It's got oil in it. It's really dirty. We should change that. Let's see if we can get her unstuck. Okay, so we got the car into the shop, and we have the tool on the camshaft. If the engine doesn't turn over, we will be up the creek without a paddle. Oh, okay. She turns. I think I'm going to pull the plugs and put some oil down the cylinders. Get it to turn over that way. Oh boy, it's really tight. Oh. Okay, I got the spark plugs out. They don't look too bad, but they're pretty old. And I've got a little funnel and a little transmission fluid that's left over. Let's see if I can put a little down in the holes. So this would be hole number 4. Just about that much. Just let it soak. And I'll do the same for the rest. and we'll let that sit for a little bit. All right, so we let our green Le Car with the weeds hanging out the back and a little more body damage than I remember. We let it sit for the weekend, letting the oil soak down in the cylinders. I'm hoping it's going to free things up a little bit. Let's get a battery in here and see what kind of noise she makes. Hopefully it's good noise. We'll hook it up and see. Okay, first off, we got to clean these up. These are really old and corroded. Let's get some shine back on those. Okay, I'm gonna drop a battery down in there. Let's see how this works. There. Make sure we get positive, positive, negative, negative. Okay, so we got our battery into the Renault. The negative terminal was just no good. I couldn't tighten it down. So I've got a good solid terminal on the negative and an okay one on the positive. This battery is too high. If I was to shut the hood, I have a feeling we'd have a bad situation here where the terminals would arc. So we got battery, and I'm pretty sure it's charged up. Now let's get into the car. I don't think this door will stay open. The check is broken, so I'm going to put my fancy dancy check on there, which is just a strap to keep the door from shutting on me. And then we're going to get under the car here, and I see I've got some wires. I suspect that's probably, that's power. And one of these is, we got to hot wire this car. I don't have the key for it, so I think, I'm looking at these wires here, I think that's the start wire. So all I'm trying to do is get the engine to turn over. There's no plugs in it. There's oil in the cylinders. I just want to see if it'll turn over. If it doesn't, we're really sunk. So I hope this works. Let's try it. Ah, that sounds good. Let's just let it turn over for a little bit. Shooting oil out the hole, that's good. That's awesome. All right. So now that I got it turning over, I need to get spark to it. So I've got to figure out which one of these turns on the spark. Let's try that. Okay, so I just took a quick jumper wire and jumped the positive of the battery to the positive of the coil. I got all my spark plugs laying right here, and someone has taken up residence in my car. What I'm going to do is just plug this in. Pet the dog first. Such a sweetie. How am I going to do this with you in here? Okay, let's see if I can plug it into the thing there. Making a lot of sparks. Come on, baby. Okay. No spark. I got nothing. Okay, so apparently this little French car didn't like being hooked directly up to battery power to the coil. There's some weird resistor or something on there with a ground strap, and I couldn't get it to connect, but I can do it through the ignition switch. So let's try that and see if we can get some spark. I think I'm gonna have to go around this way. I've got a beeper up there, so I know that when this coil's on. Okay, so the coil's on, and let's see if we can get... Hopefully we got some spark. Okay, so we'll rip that out of there. We got spark. So all we need is compression and fuel. Should probably do a compression test on this thing. Let's see if we can get some compression out of this thing. Whoop. Now I got good compression. 100 and something, 200? That's unbelievable. 200. It's showing 210. It's got to be because I oiled down the cylinders. That's ridiculous. 210? Well, let's try the next one. 300? How is that possible? 300 PSI, that's not possible. There's something wrong. Okay, so to recap, last week we drug our Renault R5 Le Car out of the bushes and sitting around the shop for a long time. This is my pandemic catch-up experience, or trying to get stuff caught up in the shop, and probably a car realistically I wouldn't have touched for a long time. And I'm feeling really bad because I didn't realize the engine was so stuck. So we pulled out the spark plugs. We soaked the cylinders with automatic transmission fluid over the weekend. That seems to lubricate them up pretty well. We have checked for spark. We have spark. We have compression. And although this is a brand new compression tester, I've only used it 3 times, this being the 3rd time. It's pegging 300 pounds on number 2, so I aborted that. I don't know if there's something wrong or if there's oil, too much oil in the cylinders. Not sure. I think it'll start. I don't think this is reading right. So we are going to give her a good healthy shot of dough juice. The fuel system on the thing is really bad. I do recall that I unplugged the fuel pump, which is a mechanical fuel pump down here, and because the tank was completely gummed up, and I think the carburetor's gummed up too. I think it'll pop and run a little bit on starting fluid, and then we'll shut her down and see if we can get a jerry can system so that we can run it for longer. I'd like to change the oil and a couple other things. So, all right, this is it. Let's see if she starts. So I'm going to hot wire it, take it out of gear, see if I can get my connection just right. Oh, she's trying. She's trying. Come on, baby. Smoke coming out. Oh. Well, let's try it again. Whew. It's a little stinky. There's a lot of fuel in there. It's just puddled up. If I open the throttle, it's all going to go down. Maybe that's what I need to do. Oh, it's smoky in here. I need to turn the fan on. Hold on. So I reconfigured it a little bit. I got an exhaust fan blowing on the car, the battery boost box charging the battery. I've got starting fluid. Let's put some starting fluid in this thing, see if it'll start. It's been a few minutes. I can see starting fluid has puddled in there. And then I reconfigured, I got a fan going back there too. I reconfigured my hot wire system here. I have the ignition on and a start button. So let's see what happens. Oh, if it starts, I'll be so happy. Oh, come on, baby. Let me press the gas button. Give it some gas. Oh, the throttle's seized. It wants to go. So wants to start. I don't know which one's the primary here. Throttle is completely seized. Yep, throttle is completely seized. Dang it. It's not going to work so good. Let's see if I can fill up the bowls through the vents. Well, that should be a lot. Let's try again. Come on, baby. Oh, trying so hard. Ah. All right, I I gotta see if I can loosen the throttle. Okay, I can't get the throttle unstuck. The throttle blades are actually seized, but I was able to get the choke to shut, and the choke is off of a water valve here. Let's see. I think this carburetor is just completely junk. So I've got the choke closed. I tried to fill the bowls. I'm gonna have to find another carburetor, I think, but let me give it one more try. Come on, baby. All you gotta do is start. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. She's running. Oh, she was running. Well, let's try again. I'm bummed the carburetor is completely seized. I think she's gonna run. What do you think, Stell? Is it gonna run? Yeah? I think it is. Let's try. Yeah! Yeah! She runs.